I'm wondering, you've had the chance to do arena tours. The Imagine Dragons tour was huge. You shot at Madison Square Garden for that one. You know, you are a huge Springsteen fan, and you recently got to shoot. You've shot him before, and I know you shot like alongside Danny Clinch, Springsteen. Like, what do moments like that mean to you? That it's kind of like those pinch me moments, like, how did I get here? Like,
Yeah, there was a moment I was in a green room and it was just like me, Bruce Springsteen, and Danny Clinch, and
yeah,
then
oh my God, I would die.
and I was just like, I don't belong here. Like I should just leave. I just sat in the corner, like waited for someone to talk to me. There's a funny, Danny's always been very sweet to me when he sees me. And there's like a funny photo of like the two of us, like, it's like I'm shooting over his shoulder. And then there's like another photo of like me sitting down and him shooting over my shoulder. And yeah, it's like
I think you sent me a picture of like the two of you shooting together or something. Yeah, because I was like, it was that most recent time you shot Springsteen.
Yeah, that was the last concert I shot before the pandemic happened, actually.
The last concert I shot before the pandemic was American Authors.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. That was an amazing show to photograph.
They're fun.
They're so energetic, and add Magic Giant in there, and the two of them together were just like.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that tour. I can't remember why, but
it was super good.
Yeah.
Their like photo protocol was like because they switched on and off, and it wasn't just like this artist goes first, this artist goes second.
Right.
Everybody in the photo pit thought it was this like complicated, because it was like you get the first two songs of the first band, and then like the first two songs, and then you get to go back in the pit when they come on stage together and whatever.
Right.
They told us ahead of time, and I thought it was obvious what they meant, and like all the photographers were like, "What's going on? I don't understand."
Yeah, I do. I try to do a little bit. I'm guilty of not doing this all the time, but when it comes to like, if I'm able to get down in the pit before the show and I'm not walking to stage with the band.
Yeah.
When there's like 20 photographers, I can't really tell 20 people information.
Yeah.
But if there's only a handful, I try to like clue them in, like, hey, first song, this is going to happen right out of the gate. If you want that shot, it's going to happen right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. Just paying it forward.
Yeah, because no one did that for me. So I would love, or sorry, it's a lie. There was one experience I had when I was like a really young photographer shooting like a Kesha show it was Kesha and Rihanna at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And they had told us all that we'd be in the pit up front, and then last minute switched us all to front of house, hundreds of feet away. And I didn't have the equipment I needed for that. And some of the Getty photographers like saw what was going on and put me in the best position possible for what I had. So I try to do stuff like that if I have the opportunity.
Yeah. And I think that's important, because you need to, people need mentors. We all had a mentor at one point, or someone who helped us along the way. And I think a lot of people get caught up in themselves and not paying attention to other people in a way. And you need that, veterans advice sometimes, kind of thing.
Yeah, we all just need to do a better job of like being there for other people in those moments when we have the space for it, we need to be there for people. You can't be there for someone 100% of the time, but I do think we all need to work on just being a little more available for others. In these creative fields, I say this all the time, but like there's no playbook. Like there's no handbook that tells me when you've gotten to this point in your career, now do this.
Right.
Then do that. So we're all learning as we go.
Yeah.
So even the people who have made it to the upper echelon of photography or music photography or whatever creative field they're in, they also are all still figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just a little grace and patience and understanding with other people, and maybe we can all figure it out together instead of keeping it to ourselves.
I like that philosophy, especially because I know in photography and other creative, there can be a lot of competition, and people, you know, sometimes don't want to help one another, but you know, what if you needed the help? So yeah, I think it's more important to make connections with people than compete with them, I think. So
Yes.
this is kind of a random question, and then I have one other question that we're going to finish up with, but well, it's not random, but do you have any, I know I do you have any like bucket list venues you want to shoot at, or bucket list artists you want to shoot that you haven't gotten to yet?
Yeah. Venue wise, the Imagine Dragons tour I was lucky enough to do was awesome for that, because I got to do the Forum, the Garden, and Red Rocks all in like a 2.5 month period.
Yeah.
That knocked off a lot of like the US stuff that I've always wanted to do. There's some smaller ones. I really want to shoot the Metro in Chicago because I grew up listening to like Alkaline Trio bootlegs from there. So I'd love to go shoot a punk band there just to say I did it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is like Wembley and big ones like that, or like even less venues, like something where like Bullet in the Bible took place for Green Day, just like when they do the huge like soccer stadium fields with 100,000 people. I'd love to do one of those. Yeah. Artist wise, Green Day, Brooks and Dunn, Rustin Kelly.
Okay.
Like, the proper way. I don't just want to shoot a show of theirs.
Right.
I want them to want to work with me. Yeah. That's I draw a distinction there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's a little different to just get access to a show somehow and shoot it. I want to work with those people because those people helped me so much in my life with their work that I kind of want an insight to that psyche, that world.
Yeah. Can you talk just a little bit more about how their work influenced you so much?
Yeah. Like a Rustin Kelly, for example, or like a Jason Isbell. Mm-hmm. I listen to their songs and I can almost see how a version of myself would have lived the same moments they talk about.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it work for me and click for me. It's like I find common ground in their very personal stories.
Yeah.
So I'm always interested to see if we would get along.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to properly work for the artist and not just go shoot a show.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that Rustin Kelly is also his music has been it's been very influential in my life too. I only recently discovered him a few years ago. But
same. It was one of the I've had like maybe 3 moments in my life where I've heard an artist. It was the first time I heard Alkaline Trio. I was like, wow. The first time I saw Gaslight Anthem, I had no clue who they were, and Brian opened the show solo. Like way before he was a solo artist. Like he has the Gaslight Anthem, but the 2 of the band members, like a family member had passed away, so 2 of the band members left. 2 band members played the show.
Wow.
And I was like, holy hell, how have I never heard this band?
Yeah.
I remember going back to my college. I was in college at the time. They were opening for Alkaline Trio. We went to go. I went back to my dorm. I didn't go out to the bars with my friends. I just like listened to every Gaslight Anthem song that was out over and over and over. Yeah. And I had that moment. I was living with Zach from American Authors. We're listening to music one day, and I think we had I can't remember whose radio station. We had a radio station on Spotify, and I heard the song. And I was like, who is this? And it was Rustin Kelly.
What song was it?
It was Faceplant.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was specifically the second verse when I heard the lyric, I was born and raised on an earthquake state, so I'm better on shaky ground. I was like, this is my type of lyric. How have none of you, I remember looking around the room. I was alone, actually, I think. I remember still looking around the room, though, being like, how none of you told me about this?
I know. He's just amazing. I could geek out about him for ages. He's his music is so vulnerable and just so emotional. And I think in the first interview I did with the artist who I interviewed, we talked a lot about lyrics because he's very lyric driven. He has a lot of, he's like Rustin Kelly in terms of being super vulnerable, puts his whole story out there kind of thing. And we were talking about lyrics and how people react to music differently. And so some people are like melody first people as opposed to lyrics first people.
Yeah. There's like a fair amount of friends of mine who are writers who like they're listening to the melody and I still don't know the melody.
Yeah, I yeah, and Steven, who I interviewed, the two of us were like, I don't understand melody first people. Like I just feel, you know, if you can't connect with the lyrics and the story, then it's harder to connect with the music. Do you think that's true or similar for you?
I don't listen to music. I listen to lyrics.
Yeah.
I still don't know. I have no idea what anyone's playing half the time.
I am stealing that.
Like I play guitar. Like I could pick up a guitar and play the song I'm listening to, but I still have no idea what they're doing.
That is, I'm stealing that quote. I listen to lyrics, not music. That is awesome. Yeah, that's yeah. I just that says it all right there. That quote.
Yeah, I was in the studio with a band yesterday doing some like behind the scenes footage, and they're working on like drum parts, and they're like, "Should we do it this bop 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 bop?" And then they'd say something different, but to me it sounded exactly the same. But they'd throw out like 3 or 4 fills that all to me sounded the same, and then the third one they'd all be, "Oh yeah, that's the one, that's the one." And then they knew exactly what was happening. They're like, "You're adding an extra 64th note right there, and an extra 8th note here, and let's do that one." And I'm like, "Where's the vocal?"
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I usually, it's funny, unless it's like something about pedal steels, I like hone right in on that and them in a song. And same with banjo and mandolin. I don't know what, I like a lot of artists that are like folk based or folk influence, you know, but I also was a late 90s, early 2000s emo kid. So it's, you know, so Rustin Kelly Dirt emo is perfect. But I just like, other than those couple of things or gorgeous harmonies, a lot of times I have to like work at listening to the different parts of the melody or, you know, break it down, which I'm such a music nerd. I do listen to it all and like break it down in my head, but I always go to the lyrics first. And if the lyrics aren't there, then it's like, okay.
Yeah, I never get to that part.
Go away. Yeah, if I just am like, okay, I'm done with that song. I think to wrap it up, I'm curious, out of all the tours you've done, which tour has impacted you the most personally and which one professionally? It could be 2 tours, 2 different ones, could be the same one, and how?
Let me think on this and see if they line up. Professionally, Imagine Dragons was a big deal to me. Because I had done work with All American Rejects in arenas opening for Blink 182, and that was wonderful. But this was the first time that I was like, I'm working for an arena band, and it's just me there.
Yeah.
And they also hadn't ever had a photographer on tour for that long, like that period of time. So I felt very like much like I had to honor that, like, and protect that because they were opening up to me, and that was very important. And I still have a great relationship with them.
Yeah.
And thankful for that. Personally, touring with American authors changed a lot of things in my life.
That was going to be my guess.
Yeah, that was a big thing because I moved to Los Angeles and then I went through a breakup, and I knew the guys. We were friendly. We were friends. We'd go to bars together, but they didn't live in LA at the time. They'd text me and I'd meet them at a bar at 11 o'clock at night. And then it'd be 2 a.m. I'd be talking to Matt, the drummer in the corner of the bar. We did that for a few months while they wrote the second record.
Yeah.
I go through this breakup, living in Los Angeles. I don't have any friends here. Mm-hmm. And I just like was like bullshitting with Zach and Matt texting one day. And I was like, have a good tour, guys, coming in your luggage. And they're like, haha, great. Then like a couple days later, they call me, the 2 of them called me. They're like, hey, were you like serious? Like, would you come with us? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I have nothing to do I have absolutely nothing to do right now. They're like, cool. Well, look, obviously we didn't budget to have a photographer. They're already in the middle of this tour. Okay. Like they're on the road. They're like, we didn't budget to have anyone, but like, we'll fly you out. We'll fly you back whenever you want. Do you want to come and just hang out?
Yeah.
And then if you take photos, you can. And that was a big one because it was like, we just want you here.
Yeah.
If you want to work, you can. If you don't want to and you just want to be around us, do that. And that kind of changed everything, because then from there, everything kind of opened up personally. I ended up living with them.
Yeah.
And without Zach and Matt and Dave, like, they got me through a period where it was really touch and go if I was able to do this full time properly. Just making enough money to get by and all that. And they kind of like were the anchor for so many years.
Yeah.
So personally, that those guys have like a huge part of my heart forever for that.
Yeah. I think, that was going to be my guess, because I know, at least that I know that you're really good friends with them and that you lived with Zach. But, having those people to support you, not just as an artist, but as a person, and want to help you as want to help Jesse the person, not Jesse the photographer, that is a special bond, and it shows a lot of mutual respect and whatnot for each other. And I think, and that was because of your art that you originally met them, correct? Yeah.
That's one of the greatest things that's come of this. Like this morning, I had to make like a purely business decision about something. Do this or do this. Can't do both, one or the other.
Yeah.
And the first two people I called Brian Dales and I called Billy or Fool.
Yeah.
Just as Jess, the person.
Yeah.
But they were still my first two calls, and I met both of them to work with them. Yeah. And we talked about it, and they said, Jess, you have to do this.
Yeah. And I think there's a little meme that goes around Facebook all the time that says, imagine all the people you wouldn't have met without music. And I think of that a lot too, and similar types of things, artists that I've worked with that then become friends with, and they've really lifted you up, and they've treated me as, a normal person, not as someone doing a job or whatnot. And just having music and art and your passion and what you love bring people into your life that then, help you be a better person. They, are always there for you, that support system. I think in life you have to have that. You can't go through life without, the connections. And I think art can really, all types of art, because it's such I think creatives are very different than a lot of other people, the creative type. And I just think it's easy to be misunderstood as a creative type sometimes. And so I think having those people and having your work and what you love to do, bring them into your life, always adds a little more specialness to it.
Like art truly has given me the life I have in very, very big ways.
Yeah.
It's determined where I live. I live in Los Angeles because of that. I didn't move here for it, but that's why I stayed. It's given me the people that are closest to me. Like outside of music, I have only a handful of friends, and those are just like my college roommates that I met in college. But 85% of the people that are my friends have come through this.
Yeah.
And it financially gives me the freedom to live my life.
Yeah.
Like every dime I make comes through photography, directing, or designing something for an artist.
Yeah.
So truly, like, art is the foundational building block of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when you get to that point where you can say like 100% that is the case, and when you get that third thing in, that's the monetarily you are able to do nothing but art, that is also a place that there's a sense of pride when you get there as well, that I think helps with confidence in a lot of ways and that kind of thing, in terms of like your inner self.
Absolutely. And a lot of it for me has been like trying to work on shifting my mindset from like a scarcity mindset of like, oh my God, when's the next job coming in, to just ride the natural ebb and flows of the year.
Yeah.
I have very busy months and then slow months, and one gives me the other. So in those slow moments, maybe I should just redecorate my living room. You know, maybe that's someone telling me this is time to slow down so that you have a great idea.
Yeah.
The next thing comes in.
Yeah. Awesome. And I know I said we were going to finish up that, but I do have one other question. I'm wondering, what is your favorite album of all time?
Oh, like, are we talking like Desert Island albums?
Yes.
I probably have to say Born to Run. Like, it's just that it's definitive, but like if I could pick like a holy trinity to bring up to my like Desert Island, it's probably Born to Run, London Calling by The Clash, and then it's tough. Then it's like there might be a Rustin record in there, there might be a Brian Fallon record in there, but maybe Rustin's newest record, is that's what I've listened to a lot this year. So the recency bias will throw that in there.
Yeah, that's number one. I've always given to Billy Joel Turnstiles. It's for me, that's my favorite record. I think it's just like the perfect record. I always say.
Does that have Vienna on it?
What?
Does that have Vienna on it?
No, it's got Summer Island Falls, Miami 2017,
Okay,
Angry Young Man, a bunch of different ones. That's that album. And that, to me, like, I always say the perfect album, or, you know, a really special album is one where you don't skip any song. Mm-hmm. Like, you could listen through the whole thing and there's not a single song you'd want to skip. And for me, that was the first record that I ever listened to that I didn't want to skip a single song. So.
Well, that's why Born to Run's good, because it's only 8 songs.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. It was awesome.
Having me.
Not a problem. I only thought it was fitting for my first 2 guests to be a musician and then a photographer, because my first 2 true loves in life are music and photography. So I thought that was the only fitting way to kick off the start it. So I enjoyed chatting with you, and I'll look forward to seeing more of your work and maybe your next tour.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I get one and where I'm going.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you so much.
Good night.
See ya.